Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel, and if you are brand new here, welcome. I'm Bonnie, Old Soul Mermaid, and today is going to be part 2 of a look into my indie tarot deck collections. Now I have a number of decks left, I think about 30, so I think there's going to have to be a part 3. So I just posted part 1 this morning, and so you can find that and take a look at that. This is part 2, and right out of the gate, we are going to start with Le Beaumont Tarot, a Regency tarot deck by Jennifer Poole. This deck is beautiful. This is a glossy 2-piece box. I believe I have an unboxing of this on my channel. It would have been very early on. This is one of my early indie deck acquisitions, and I found it at an independent bookstore in Austin. So it's just a plain box, and these are the beautiful backs. This is kind of a tea stained or beige backing. Very minimalistic art in this deck. It's female centric, as you can see right off the bat with the Emperor. It is a pip deck. Now you'll see right here, this is the debutante of parasols. So the parasols are cups for this deck, and the debutante is the equivalent of a page. The reticules you'll see are for pentacles. And the debutante is for the knight. It's the substitute for the knight. So you've got debutante. Debutante actually it is the I'm getting tongue-tied here, you guys. It's early in the morning. The debutante is the page. The Duchess is in lieu of the knight. The Ace of Candles is for the suit of wands. And you know, parasols is cups. I'm trying to see if I can get... Now, Duchess is for the queen, in lieu of a queen. So she's Duchess of Fans, and the fans are for the suit of swords. And blue stocking is a knight. Beautiful, beautiful deck. It took me a little bit to learn how to read with this deck because it is a pip deck, and I didn't find it the easiest to read with right off the bat because it was kind of early in my tarot journey. And these are, as you can see, they're not illustrated. They don't really give you any hints, like say something like the Pagan Otherworlds or some of my other pip decks. So it did take a little bit to get used to this deck, but I love it. I really, really love it. And the better I get at reading with pips, the more I'm loving this deck. I do love the artwork. I love the cardstock. It's similar to a US Games, like the Morgan Greer. Feels similar to that. So the better I get with pips, the more I'm bonding with the deck. And that is Le Beaumont Tarot by Jennifer Poole. Next, we have the first of what I equate to my squiggle art decks. And this is the first of 3. Now, this is the Apparition Tarot, a Spirit Speak Tarot deck by Mary Elizabeth Evans. And I do have an oracle of hers that's in my oracle video, my indie oracle video that I posted last week. Great box. You can get this on Etsy. There's the back. Very sturdy. I love the thumb cutouts, whimsical designs. I got this deck early on in my tarot journey as well. I love this blue, robin's egg blue. Oh, there's the inside of the box. And the little cherubs on the back with the robin's egg blue, which I love, with the metallic gold edging. Great cardstock. It is like something similar to maybe Ebony's Awakened Soul Tarot or her New Modern Love Tarot. So if you have those decks, you get an idea what the cardstock is like. It's a little bit wider than normal traditional tarot size. Now, I mentioned that I did get this early on in my tarot journey, and I saw an unboxing or a video with this deck. Not my normal aesthetic, as you can see, but I was just drawn to the images, and I thought, this is another deck that it does follow the RWS kind of loosely. It kind of does its own thing, but you know, the suits aren't renamed, the cards really aren't renamed, so it follows the RWS, but it kind of goes its own way at times. And these kind of decks are great when you want to work on reading intuitively and you don't have everything spelled out for you, you know, due to the imagery, or maybe relying on numerology. These kind of decks are great for getting in touch with your intuition and letting, you know, sometimes you're just, learning to read with these type of decks kind of unlocks a part of your brain. It makes you work a little harder or easier, you know, if you are building up your intuition. Look at that Fool. I love this Fool. So again, it wasn't a deck that I found really easy to work with, but the more I practice and the more I read, the better I get with working with more obscure imagery. And I love this deck. I love the colors. I love even the, you know, a lot of these cards have a ton of white space, but it just goes with these images. And it works well with her Vessel Oracle, which is in my Indie Oracle deck video. And that is the Apparition, a Spirit Speak Tarot deck by Mary Elizabeth Evans. The second deck by Mary Elizabeth Evans, another squiggle art deck, is the Spirit Speak Tarot. I think is well known in the community. Again, really nice box, hard, sturdy, nice decorative features. This is like a poker or bridge size deck. It is black and white, and I believe for a while, I don't think it's available anymore, but she had the reversed deck where the background was black and the images, you know, were white. You know, it was just reversed, so the writing would have been white against a black background. Those are the beautiful backs. This is a glossy cardstock, thin, easy to shuffle, very easy to handle. As you can see how small it is in my hand. Again, I got it for doing larger readings in conjunction with Lenormand and Oracle cards. This is a great, you know, these size decks are great to work in larger spreads. Again, will make you work on your intuition if you're not already a seasoned reader. And though the images aren't my normal pretty aesthetic, I really enjoy having these kind of decks in my collection. I do like to have a wide variety of decks to fit a mood, some to test my abilities, some for teaching. And I find having this deck, it's a highly portable size, nice sturdy box, and a very affordable indie deck. And if you like this more avant-garde aesthetic, I would say it's a definite must. And that is the Spirit Speak Tarot deck by Mary Elizabeth Evans. And this is the last deck by Mary Elizabeth Evans, the Divina Tarot deck. Very similar in production of the Spirit Speak, which we just saw. I think the cardstock is different in this one. it's a little more matte. And those are the backs, same size as the Spirit Speak, though I think the Spirit Speak is a little bit wider than this. But again, another squiggle art deck, which I call squiggle art. Handwritten titles. This has got, you know, just a very handwritten, just pencil sketch, charcoal sketch vibe to it. Again, I got it for the same reason. I just really, really enjoy her decks. And do you need both of these? No, you don't. Is there one that I like better than the other? No. No, there isn't. I love this Hanged Man. But getting one or the other, you would be fine. And in fact, if you just want a quick little side by side, I'm going to look at the sizes are the same. But this, you get more of a charcoal art feel, and this one is definitely a glossier cardstock, not sticky to where you can't shuffle it. But yes, definite similarities in the aesthetic. Do you need both? I would say absolutely not. If you're on a budget, you do not need both. But I enjoy having both, and I enjoy working with them. So that is the Divina Tarot by Mary Elizabeth Evans. All right, next we have the Darkness of Light Tarot. You guys, I'm feeling a little foggy today, so if this video starts out feeling a little disjointed, I apologize. I stayed up way too late watching the new Netflix series, Bridgerton. I binge watched it, and I was up till 4:30 in the morning finishing it. Yeah, I know. It is so good. So I have a little bit of a brain fog. I was up way too late. So this is The Darkness of Light by Tony Demaro. This is the 3rd edition. So the other 2 editions came with a black background and the black border, and I was disappointed I didn't get in on that. So this is the 3rd edition, but I found that I think I actually prefer the white. After looking at videos with the black, I think that the art pops more with the white background. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck that follows closely with the RWS. Some of the imagery is just haunting. I don't think this deck is available at the moment. It's got really nice cardstock too. Linen-y finish. It's textured. I wouldn't call it a true linen finish. It's unique, but very good. Not flimsy. It's got a core. Look at that 9 of Blades. And this is such a beautiful deck. If you are familiar, even just a little bit, if you're a beginner and you're watching this, if you're just, if you're a little bit familiar with the RWS, I think you would be able to read with this deck just fine. If you want to move on from the RWS, or, you know, you want to learn with a different deck, something with a little bit more maybe relatable imagery, this is a great one to go for. Very easy to read with. There is a guidebook, but it doesn't come with it. You have to, well, I bought it separately. I think the guidebook was only $10, and it's really nicely written. I would highly recommend. And look, he signs the tuck box. Next, we have the Ember and Aura Tarot by Jamie Richardson. This is the Awakening edition. It's a little bit different than the first issue of this deck. Beautiful, beautiful box. This is available on Etsy. I believe it's still available. It has gorgeous, gorgeous backs. And look at this. How can you resist a deck with pink edging? This comes with, this is the extra card in this edition. I don't believe this card is in the first edition. But as you can see, this is a mostly female-centric deck. I think the Emperor may be the only male. There may be a couple of other males in here. In fact, I know there is, but it's largely female-centric. Minimalistic art in some ways, a lot of white space, but I think it's very soothing. I love that in the quartz there are mature women in this deck depicted. It does follow mostly the RWS system. It is a very, very beautiful deck. Yeah, in the quartz we do have the knights, and they are all framed in a similar fashion. I love this Eight of Swords. I think it's just a beautiful deck, and it is easy to read with because it does follow the RWS system. It's a little bit bigger for tarot, more like an oracle size, but the cardstock, again, I would equate this to Ethany's Modern Love Tarot, her Awakened Soul Oracle. Nice matte cardstock. I think it's the cups that are mostly pippish in this deck. So there are some pippish cards in the minors. I think this is beautiful, but it is a very, very easy reader and very beautiful. And that is the Ember and Aura Tarot by Jamie Richardson. Next, we have the Field Tarot. Now, I'm not going to show you too many of these cards because, well, I put them in order because I did yesterday get the indie version, the new mass market version of this deck in the mail yesterday from Amazon. So I'm going to be filming a side-by-side of the two decks and pointing out the differences. I haven't opened my mass market deck, but this is the indie version. I believe this is no longer available. Correct me if I'm wrong. This is a pip deck, but it's illustrated pips. So I did put this in order. Look at those beautiful purple lilacs, navy in the back. Female-centric deck. Collage, digital collage. This reminds me of the Star Child, the art in the Star Child Tarot. So this deck is kind of a combination of the Star Seeker Tarot by Nikki Ferrata, and also I would say Danielle Noel, like the Star Child art and the collaging that she does in that deck. Kind of, if they had a baby, it would be this. I love this deck. It is pips, but like I said, it is illustrated. It is more a minimalistic deck. There's not a lot of clutter. It's very clean. Perspective is in lieu of the Hanged Man. In this card, I love this deck card. So this is the Field Tarot by Hannah Elizabeth Fofana. And I want to do, or look on my channel, and there'll be a side-by-side comparison of this deck and the mass market version. But I do believe I have a full unboxing of this deck. It's kind of way back. It's early on in my channel's history. But I really do enjoy this deck. Beautiful cardstock, matte cardstock. It's great. And that is the Field Tarot. Speaking of Danielle Noel, I have her Moonchild Tarot. Now, this deck, if you've been in the tarot community, this deck has been out for a while. Most people have it, I would say. It is gorgeous. It is beautiful. Production quality, everything about this deck is just the creme de la creme. It is a larger deck. It's got a nice chunky guidebook. Beautiful backs. Beautiful edging. That matte gold edging. And look, that first card matches my cloth. It's always nice when that happens. So I won't go through too many of these cards because you all know it. You've either seen it a million times or you have it in your collection. I did have the Star Child at one time, but I could not connect with that deck for some reason. It's beautiful. I loved it and I tried so hard and I just couldn't. And I found I had this deck and I reach for this. If I want something with the, you know, the Danielle Noel aesthetic, I'm going to reach for this one every time over the Star Child. I had the Akashic Records version, the large Akashic Records with the borders. I'm thinking maybe someday I may like to get the reissue of the original one that she has. Because there were some cards I did not like in the Akashic Records version. So maybe someday I might give it another go, but that deck has left my collection and I got something else that I resonate more with, and that's kind of what I do. But yes, this is the beautiful Moonchild Tarot by Danielle Noel. Next, we have a fun and whimsical deck. It is the Crystal Unicorn Tarot by Pamela Chen. And yes, I had to splurge for the little bag. I think it was only $7. So it's like, yeah. This deck is a beautiful, beautiful deck. I think it's great for beginners. I think it's great for a teen, a tween starting in on their tarot journey. Gorgeous backs. This deck is reversible if you like to read with reversals. Has this little extra card, the Donut Worry. Just super fun, super cute, and it does follow the RWS very, very closely. So if you've got a teen or a tween, this is a wonderful deck. And even if you're a kid at heart, like I am, you will love this deck. It is one of those decks that will give you everything you want in a reading, but it will deliver the hard messages in a soft way. If you're a professional reader and you're reading for someone who's very, very apprehensive, you bring out this deck and, you know, you can't help but make the person across from you smile. Of course, I don't think anybody's doing in-person readings anymore right now. But I love having this deck in my collection. My niece, my 15-year-old niece, loves it. And I do readings for her, and I let her choose between this, the Whispering Spirits, the Mons Tarot, the Playful Heart Tarot. Great choices for if you're reading for a younger person or somebody who is young at heart, somebody who's apprehensive. It's a wonderful little deck to have in your collection. Great matte cardstock. And that is the Crystal Unicorn Tarot by Pamela Chen. Next out of the gate is the Intuitive Night Goddess Tarot by, I believe it's Lindsay Silverman. I believe that's her name. beautiful box. There is a full unboxing on my channel of this deck. I haven't had this deck for that long. I first saw this deck on Sunset Bow's channel, and I was just taken right away. It has collage, kind of vintagey art. Oh, it is etched in gold. Those are the beautiful backs. Again, it's got that nice matte cardstock that I'm again going to say Ethany's decks have. The Modern Love and the Awakened Soul Oracle. There are some renamed cards in this, and it kind of goes its own way in some instances. Look at this Eight of Pentacles. I just love it. But strangely enough, I didn't know how easily I was going to be able to read with this deck. But this deck has given me some deep readings and insights. And I find it's a very easy deck to meditate with these images. I'll take a card, randomly pick a card, and meditate on it. And I've had a really good experience doing that with this deck. Actually, this is a deck I wouldn't mind having a second copy of, because, you know, a deck like this, you don't know how long it's going to stay in print. And I would be very, that's Queen Victoria, I would be very, very sad if, you know, this deck got worn and, you know, started disintegrating. It's something I could see myself always wanting to have. And even though I haven't had it very long, it's like one of my favorites already. Yeah, I got it in the latter part of the year, maybe a couple of months ago. As you can see, it does kind of, it's got its own thing going, and which I like. I have enough RWS strict clones, so it's kind of nice when a deck pretty much follows that system, but takes a little bit of liberty and kind of goes its own way. So that is the Intuitive Night Goddess by Lindsay Silverman. Now we have the This Might Hurt Tarot deck by Isabella Rotman. This is not the first edition printing. This is, I think, the second printing when I finally got this deck, because it does have a UPC code in the back of this. And when she did that, I was wondering if, you know, if this deck was going to go mass market, or if she plans to put this out as a mass market deck. I can see how it would do very well. Beautiful box. I do have a full unboxing, I believe. Or actually, you know what? I have a side-by-side video with this deck versus the Modern Witch Tarot by Lisa Sturl. And while they are different, they have a similar vibe. And I did the video. Oh, and I forgot to show you. This comes with beautiful silver edges. There was a choice to get holographic kind of black edging, but those were all sold out by the time I was ready to purchase this deck. So, but I don't mind. Beautiful matte cardstock. Very easy to shuffle and to handle. Standard tarot size. This I would put in with the Light Seers Tarot and the Modern Witch Tarot as far as a modern deck that is, you know, pretty diverse. Something that I find this appeals to when I have read for my son's college-aged friends. The Modern Witch, Light Seers, those work wonderfully. You can do any kind of reading with this deck and the other two I mentioned. A little bit more inclusive, which is always good, but you know, it's more modern day people in this deck, but it still has a whimsical feeling to it. that otherworldly tarot feeling to it. I think Isabella Rotman, and I can't remember the name of, I know she worked with somebody to do the coloration for the deck. She did the drawings, and I think somebody else colored the cards for her. But this is a top favorite. Very easy to read. Follows the RWS system. I'd say if you're a beginner, you could learn to read on this deck very easily. Very easily. And that is the This Might Hurt Tarot deck by Isabella Rotman. Here we have the favorite of many people, the Dark Mansion Tarot. Now, this is an early indie acquisition of mine. I do have the regular size with the black backs and the black edging. This is another deck that I would like a second copy of. I think they have this size available with the brown backs and the gold edging, and I would very much like to get a copy of that. A favorite of many, Tim Burton-esque art. It's got the very nice matte cardstock. It's just production value is beautiful, beautiful, vivid, full of life art in cartoony figures. Yeah, very Tim Burton-esque. Some of the images just remind people of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Easy reader, follows the RWS system. See, this reminds me of the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland. So it's got it from the clothing, you've got this gothic Victorian feel to it. All of these figures now, it's not inclusive, there's not a variety in race, but it is a gothic deck with it's a fantasy cartoon deck, so you kind of give it a pass for what it is. Not every deck is meant to be diverse. This is a cartoon. See, reminds me of something of Nightmare Before Christmas. So you just kind of give it a pass. It's kind of its own world, which is fantastic. I love that Fool. And I love this Five of Swords too. But yeah, this is a favorite. If you're a beginner and you want a nice indie deck that you feel that you can read with, I would say the Dark Mansion is a wonderful choice. And it does not come with a book, by the way. So that is the Dark Mansion Tarot by Taroteca Studio. Now we have the Light Visions Tarot by James R. Eads. I haven't had this deck terribly long. I believe this is the second printing with the matte or rose petal cardstock. This deck is a favorite of many. Those are the beautiful backs. Matte gold edging. Now this is the same as his Prisma Visions Tarot. It's just done with this monochromatic coloring. I don't have the Light Visions Tarot, but I am getting it because I did back the Kickstarter for his Cosmo Visions Oracle, and I'm going to be getting the newer version of that deck. So yeah, if you've backed that Kickstarter, I think it looks like February when we're finally going to get all that. Yeah, it was supposed to be December, but you know how things are. This is a beautiful, beautiful deck. I could see if you have real problems with your eyesight, this kind of art might not be the best for you. It is busy, but again, it's very meditative. And he it kind of goes its own way, which I like. You know, like I said, I have enough strict RWS clones. It does follow the system, but it goes its own way in certain aspects, I feel, with the art, and it's fantastic. It's a really great deck to meditate on, and it's one that I do have to sit. You know, I don't just pull some cards and say, oh. And it's something that, you know, the same cards, even if you had on 3 consecutive days, you pulled out the same three cards maybe for a daily reading, you would get something different out of it, you know, every single time, because of the intricacies of the artwork. James R. Eads, he just does wonderful work. I have his Green Glyphs Lenormand, and just his production value for his decks is fantastic, and I'm really looking forward to getting the Oracle, the Cosmovisions Oracle. So, yeah, this is a great deck. Many of you have, but if you are not familiar with it, I believe it's still available on his site. I think, I'm not sure. He may be coming out with a new version, different cardstock for this deck as well. Not sure on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. All right, we have the first of my Robert M. Place decks, and this is the Alchemical Tarot Renewed. This is the 4th edition. There is a 5th edition which comes, see, this is just a tuck box, but if you go to Robert M. Place's website, you can see the beautiful new box that his decks are coming in. It's a 2-piece lift-off box. My next deck, you'll see what kind of box I'm talking about. And I'm thinking of getting another version of this just because of the box. And I think the deck comes gilded too. But this is a glossy cardstock, standard tarot size. Those are the decks. This deck is well known to many of you. If you've been reading tarot for a while, you're familiar with Robert M. Place's work. There was a book, I believe, that went with this, but it's hard to get now. And when you can find it, it's rather expensive. Lots of symbolism, and I feel I should have gotten his tarot, the Sevenfold Mystery first. It's a little bit more a stripped down version of this. Different illustrations, but I think a little easier to read, though this does follow the RWS system. And I'm just showing you a few of the cards, because the next deck I got because I wanted to strip a very stripped down version of this deck. But I love, love, love the artwork in this deck. I've played around with this deck. Haven't really done in-depth readings for anybody else, and I've just played around with it for myself. But there's so much in this deck that it's something I really want to get the book. And I think you get your choice of lovers cards in this deck. I think there's 2, if I remember correctly. So if you like the old woodcut type art in this deck, you'll really love this. And that is the Alchemical Tarot. This is the 4th edition by Robert M. Place. So next we have the Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus by Robert M. Place, an iconic edition of the Alchemical Tarot distilled to its essence. So this is stripped down version of the Alchemical Tarot, which we just saw. And this is what I'm telling you, the new 5th edition of his Alchemical Tarot comes in this type of box. It's fabric covered, it's a lift off, and the only thing about this, I wonder how, if you know, the fabric might come unglued. And especially, you know, as you lift off, you know, over the years, if that's going to hold up. But it is, you know, a nicely produced box. And look at this. I actually did a side, I believe I did a side by side, but I haven't posted it of the two decks. I need to do that. But as you can see, and those are the backs. Nice matte cardstock, so it's not glossy. And this one is edged. And you can get this on his website. I believe it's still available. I love the size of this deck. It's a little more square, a little shorter than regular tarot size, but I think a little bit wider. And again, just a very stripped down version of the Alchemical Tarot. And I have played with this a little bit more. It does seem it's a little more pippish, but I find that I can work with this deck because you do get all the symbology and symbolism that you need. It does follow the RWS system. And I think this is a great one to get if you want to learn to read with Robert M. Place's decks. The booklet is very stripped down. Again, I still would like to get one of his study books. Let's see, you get a little bit extra than just pips. I love this Lady of the Swords. She's beautiful. So that is the Tarot of the Alchemical Magnum Opus by Robert M. Place. So the last deck in this video today is my last Robert M. Place deck. This is the Vampire Tarot. And this I got, I don't know, this, I think it's out of print, but you may still be able to get copies off of eBay. Very, very big box because it comes with a very big, thick, academic type book. This is no little white book. This is an academic book that you get with this deck. Now, when I got this deck last year, I got it at my local half-price books. At the time I saw it on eBay, it was running anywhere from $150 to $250. And I got it at my half-price books for $50. Yes, I know. Those are the backs. And something that's unique to this deck is that the edges are not rounded. They're kept sharp, which kind of goes with the aesthetic of a Dracula deck. Beautiful, beautiful imagery in this deck. And I haven't worked with it because I'm looking at the book and it seems a little daunting, and I don't want to work with this deck before working with the book. I mean, that would be the only thing I'd be working with probably for a month. So I need to take the time to devote to the study and working with this deck. I am so happy that I have it in my collection. So I can't really tell you how it reads because I have not worked with it in depth. So that is a goal. I plan to do a video of all my goals that I plan to do for 2021, and decks I want to work with, books I want to read, and that kind of thing. This deck is definitely on the list. Definitely. And it's just beautiful. Beautifully, beautifully done by Robert M. Place. And Yeah, I need to work with it with the guidebook, I feel. So that concludes my part 2 of a look at my indie deck collection. I've whittled it down quite a bit, I believe, so I believe there will only be one more video. Sorry if I seemed a little bit low energy or foggy. Like I said, I stayed up way too late watching Bridgerton and finishing the series. So yeah, I don't recommend staying up till 4:30 in the morning and then trying to do something that you need to concentrate on. But I am so thankful if you stuck with me and for all your comments. Let me know, what do you think of any of these decks? Do you have them? Have you had them in your collection and then traded them or sold them? What has been your experience working with these decks? Are there any here that you were not aware of? Are there any here now that maybe you want on your wish list? Let me know in the comments, and I will be back with part 3 very soon. So wishing you the best of days. Bye for now.